Oh, better put my phone on silent.
Oh, good idea.
Last podcast was vibrating the whole time.
I know, it was awesome.
The phone, Chris.
Chris was sitting on it.
Yeah.
I was at the phone.
Right, yeah, we're off. Off and racing. Good to go,
No pressure.
Jace? No pressure. You've done this before. You guys are pros.
Nah, we're not pros.
The last time we did it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long was that?
What, about a year ago now?
Mm. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. This Quincy and Jayne with a Y.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, because I almost stuffed that up. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you both do, because it's pretty interesting as a occupation.
Where should we
I suppose.
start?
Yeah.
Well, we're both former American football players. So I played for New South Wales and Jayne played for
Queensland, yeah.
Yep.
So we competed against each other. First game that we ever played football.
It
Actually,
was like a state of origin style.
Yep. Okay.
Do you want to know who won?
I think we
Queensland,
know.
of course.
No.
I actually feel inadequate here. I'm the only one that's
Well,
not played a state of origin. I'm a Kiwi, so it doesn't matter.
they're pretty
I'm a
fun.
Kiwi.
Oh, there you go. And you've still played a state of origin. How does that work?
Well, I just
It's like Tony Carroll. Tony Carroll played for Queensland. He's half Kiwi.
Is he? I think it's just whatever's convenient, isn't it?
Caldwell, huh? He was another one that played. for
Yeah,
Queensland.
that's true.
There's been a few multis
Crossovers.
there, so it's been good.
Oh, good stuff. All right,
yeah, and then we
carry on. So yeah, so you started off American football here, and then ended up over in the States.
In the States, yeah.
Yep,
Did they poach you from over here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
they poached her, not me. They didn't know what they were missing.
Yeah. Right. And what did you put a good word in for Quincy and say, oh,
No, well, I actually didn't know Quincy.
Yep.
I didn't meet her until we played together in LA. So I went over there and I played in Atlanta, Georgia first. And then I went over there into LA, and then her and another Aussie Kiwi girl
Yep.
was there. And then I was like, I played against them in Australia. So
Yeah, when you're overseas, like we were rivals here, and then as soon as you're overseas, you kind of make friends.
because
Yeah.
we're all from down under, right?
down under. You've been in America too long. we
Way
call it
too
that.
long.
But it's weird when you do playing sport overseas. That you sort of gravitate to each other, don't you?
Yeah.
Like it becomes, it almost, when I was in France, it all became like it was a little community that were a lot of expats were over there playing. So I guess with you guys formed that relationship, that friendship early on.
Yeah. You bond over like things that you miss, like the food and like just all your slang and all your jokes,
Yeah.
like no one else gets. Americans, they don't understand. They think that they can't understand us. Like, what are you guys saying?
We're like,
Yeah.
ask for a water. And they're like, a what? A water?
Water. Yeah,
Like,
water.
How long were you both over there for?
I was there for 4 years.
And
Yeah.
I was there for 3 seasons.
3 seasons. So, and did you go off? Does that mean you went off and on, or were you there full time?
No, after our season finished, they cancelled the league out here, so there was no option to play again. Like we trained all year for the following season, and then they canned it. So I was like over it, and then I took a year off, and she
Yeah.
went and played in Atlanta, and then I thought, if I don't go and do it now, I'm never going to be able to do it. So I thought I just left my entire life here and went to do 1 season, and then I loved it, so I stayed on. And we played together LA 2016, and then
Yeah.
2 seasons together in Chicago.
So with that journey, how like do they pay you enough, or do you work, or how's that all situation? I know that the divide between professional athletes with men to males is pretty big. I know that it's sort of the gap's getting a little bit small. So I'm interested in how you guys funded you going over there and doing it and then obviously with work. How was all that situated?
Well, our league was semi-professional, so they paid for our expenses, but they didn't pay us. So we went over there, they paid for our flights, accommodation, they sorted us out. We didn't have to pay for, training, equipment, all that kind of stuff, but we just had to pay for day-to-day living. So
Yeah,
Wow.
so it was really hard. So in our off season, like I did a season on the super yachts in Florida. In the off season, Jayne would come home.
came home and worked with my family and just made some money while I was back in Australia, and then I went back.
And then we used to be really creative. Like we had super fans in America that, your fans get really behind you. So we used to sign posters, $35 a poster.
Really?
You know what I mean? You could do 10 a day. You're making bank. We used to sell uniforms. We used to,
Yeah, we hustled any way that we could.
like we would get
There's not a
people.
hustle both
There's
on
a
the field and
fine
off
line,
the
isn't there?
field.
It's a fine line where you go, I'm just going to, no, I've got to stop. I bet you got some requests.
But foot fetish, a lot of
No, just Strange
No,
people
but
out there.
Yeah, there
I
are.
think that there's a lot of people that wanted to sponsor us. They didn't want to give us money, but they would give us like bags,
Yeah.
like really cool bags. So we
Yeah.
would then just get those bags and then auction them off. So like we were just out
So
there
you're hustling. You're just
Yeah,
hustling
just
to try
because
and
we couldn't actually work in the US. So like our visas didn't allow us to
we
work.
were amateur athletes.
So we were on that
Yeah.
visa. It
Right.
was really restrictive. So anything that we did had to be through our social media. So we just got creative. Like we would go to get the car serviced and we would just sign all the boys' posters
And
they
they
would
would service
the
my car for free.
So like we just everywhere we went. One time we broke down right next to a Ford dealership. So then
Yeah.
they like jumpstart the car, sign a poster.
They like fix the aircon
So you
too.
just had a whole heap of posters in your back seat.
Yeah.
In your boot,
Yeah,
in your
it's
trunk.
currency.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
it
go.
was. We could get around the world on those posters.
We did get around the world
Yeah.
on those posters.
So it becomes, I guess that's sort of that's the meaning of semi-professional, isn't it? Like you're allowed, you can live, you can survive, but if you haven't got anything behind you, you could just barely make, but then you can't have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we lived a really basic life, but
Yeah.
we had so much fun. Like,
Yeah,
everything.
We ate a lot of tuna. Staple.
rice and
that
tuna.
Was,
Yeah, yeah.
rice and tuna. That was our staple.
That's what I used to eat when I first moved out. I learned how to boil rice and grated cheese on top.
Cocoa Pops for me when I moved out. All
Cocoa Pops are luxury.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. That's good.
See,
And Milo.
professional.
And Milo.
That's the
Yeah.
difference.
That's the professional athlete.
Yeah, I know.
It's just he and Cocoa Pops.
Good for your diet too.
Yeah, well, I'm in them now. Yeah. And so what? So you lived and played over there, both of you, for 3, and then obviously that dried up. After what year was it that it dried up and sort of?
Well, 2018, it didn't dry up. It
Yeah.
was just we had an undefeated season. We won the national championship, which was what we were there to do. Like, that was our goal. And
We were just ready to move on with the next phase of our life.
like we were sick of kind of just surviving.
Is that
That-
because it wasn't professional? It was just like you felt like
Yeah.
you were just sort of
Yeah, so
passengers?
we were living kind of a half life. It was really fun, but as you get older, it's kind of like, okay, I need to figure out the next move. We won. Jane had
Yeah.
had a few concussions, so and we were just constantly sore and beat up and kind of trying to get to that next step. So we're like, this is a good time to go out, like go
Yep.
out on a high.
Yeah.
Which was all good in theory, but obviously
Yeah.
the reality of that when you retire, you probably know. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, I'm ready to do it, and then you do it, and you're like,
You just feel so lost
I'm a long
without
time
sport.
retired. That's what you feel.
Mate, he got booted out most of the time. He just-
I got sacked from 3 clubs.
yeah. You guys
I
didn't
knew
get
that
sacked.
feeling.
slightly
I knew
different
that.
feeling.
I know that feeling. I know both feelings. Retiring and
You
being
retired
sacked.
and got sacked, yeah. Yeah, he's done the gamut. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it is like falling off a cliff. You go, I'm retired now. I've been doing something that I've loved for a long time, and then you
Yeah.
go, right, I've retired. I'm going to make the choice. So yeah, you do feel a little bit. You're in the wilderness.
It's such
but
a
you've-
big part of your life for so long, and to lose that, you're just kind of like, what do I do now? Like, what is my purpose? What am I passionate about? And you just feel a little bit lost without sport because, I'd played sport my whole life ever since I was a kid. So all of a sudden I'm not an athlete anymore, and I'm like, who am I?
Yeah, and you're not part of the team because that's what we missed as well, like seeing all the girls getting back together for preseason. And I was like, oh,
Training all the time, traveling together,
Yep.
in the
best.
locker room. It is the best.
Yeah, so
It's a family,
Yeah, it
and
is.
you lose your family.
Definitely.
That's obviously why people, because what industry you're in now, it's like a after sports.
Your business.
Yeah,
It's
so
sort of like a. Sorry, I'm bumbling my way through. I don't
Yeah,
know
no,
100%.
no, no.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Yep.
so that's kind
I
of
wanted to sort of know about the sort of like, because as you start, like that's obviously you've identified that there can be a problem afterwards, both of you, and then so it seems like you've moved into something that'll help
Yeah.
people with that side of it.
Yeah, because when we transitioned out of sport, we were lost, and we realized that a lot of athletes feel that same way, and they find it hard to transition into life and business after sport. And that's when we started a company together called Athletes4Athletes, because we are athletes and we're for athletes. And that's what we wanted to do, was just help athletes transition and help them feel supported in that transition, because we've done it. We've been there. We know how you feel. And just giving them options.
like a new team.
Yeah.
So basically, when we retired, our parents were like, go and get a job. And
Yeah.
we were
That was
like,
the last thing I wanted to do.
do we have to?
I still haven't got a job.
But exactly. So that
Yeah.
next step can be bigger and better if you choose it to be, but you have no skills. You have the skill of being an athlete and knowing how to push yourself to a limit and work as a team. Like, you have a lot of really good qualities
Yep.
that translate into being an entrepreneur, but you don't really have the nitty gritty skills. So you just need a new team. You just need people that go, this is what we've done. Like, Jane and I are not skilled in any of the facets of our business other than putting people together, which is what we're really good at. So we have a app development team. We have a branding team. We have a PR team. Like, every single person within our circle knows what they're doing in that one thing. And then we just have athletes, and now business owners. So it's kind of broadened since we started, but it was originally with athletes. You come in, we figure out what it is that you want to do. You have an idea, and then how we make that work for you. So we want people to go from the beginning of like, I've got nothing but an idea, to like a successful company.
It's a strange, I'm obviously outside looking in on the professional sports arena. You can see it, and I see it a lot with like maybe footballers and sort of like fighters, the sort of stuff I follow. If they got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, they might as well be out, because you can almost see what they're like some of the Broncos are dealing with it at the moment, but they're almost like they've decided they're leaving, and whether they have something that they're pursuing outside of sport, or whether they have something that they really want to go to, it's almost like they're sort of already on their way to there, or they're thinking about it, because you have to be so obsessed and so tunnel vision in what you're doing that you almost can't plan for afterwards.
Yeah, it's a really hard balance, and there are athletes that can do it. There's so many athletes that LeBron James, there's athletes that have
Michael
successful
Jordan did it
businesses.
while he was playing, and he was the greatest of all time.
You've just named 2 of the best ever athletes.
Let's go to the bottom of the barrel.
Can you do sort of relatable, please? Because
I think
Jordan did it, so fuck it, we should all be able to do it.
But I think with athletes, we have a foot in the door, especially because we have sponsors. We have, if you can network the sponsorship that you've got that's involved with rugby league. I'm only going off rugby league. You can make a lot of money out of foot after your sport. A lot of money. Like when I started my earth moving business, I didn't know anything about it, but I knew, plant hire companies or landscaping companies that I could put all my machines into, and that just became my exit strategy from football. Even though it didn't finish well, but I still made a lot of money from it. But that's where athletes and these guys are connecting those dots.
Yeah.
If you can leave a sport and team up with these two, your transition from sport into life after your chosen sport is a lot easier, and that's what you guys are doing. You guys are connecting those dots and making the transition a whole lot easier.
Yeah, and if you can make the kind of money that you make as an athlete on the side, when you transition out, then you have an opportunity to then pursue what it is that you love to do, rather than, shit, I have to go and get a job, or I have to do this, or I have to
Something
do that.
that you don't want to do, like go sell insurance or
go work in the
real
mine.
estate,
be a
go in the
PT.
mine. There's like
Be a plumber.
there's very like specific routes that a lot of athletes take.
So do you find that people that come in and speak to you, they base a lot of what they want to do on money, not necessarily on what they want to do? Because as a professional, you are, for the most part, you're used to earning a pretty good living, a lot better than people do in what would you call it, the civilian sector?
Real world,
yeah, in the real world, yeah. So, do they base a lot of their opinions on, hey, I need to come up with $300,000 a year, or or do you try and steer them away from that and go, what are you passionate about, and let's try and help you pursue that point of it?
We like the passion stuff.
Yeah.
So Jane and I want to work with people who love what they're doing, because you can make money out of anything.
Yes,
if you do it right. Do you know what I mean? So you don't
especially in this day and age.
You don't you don't have to do it the hard way. Like our belief is that it gets to be
work
easy.
9 to 5 with a shovel in your hand.
Because we
those
don't
days
want
are gone.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Like,
they're very much here. Trust me.
yeah,
You let someone else do the shoveling. You watch.
Well,
That's
sort of,
become smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are options. And I mean, there's something for everyone, and everyone has that choice. But if you want to, and it's not always easy. Like in the beginning, you've got to take risks, you've got to invest money, you've got to grow your mindset, you've got to grow your network. There's a lot to do. It's not just like, you come up with your purpose and then roll on into it.
Yeah.
But if you want to live your life the way that you want, then you can do it.
Yeah, true.
You can set it up exactly how you want. Like we want to work less and earn more. So that's everything that we do right now.
Blown away.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we just work. It's a lot of work right now. Like our business is still very new. We've got some really big clients and we're in a really great position, but it's taken a long time with very little money and a lot of time wasters and people that
you learn a lot in the beginning, and that's what we wanted to show athletes. Like, look, these are all the mistakes that we made. You can learn from our mistakes and then move on. Oh, sorry. So we wanted to just help them with that transition and show them that there is a new team environment, and that following, just like sport, they followed their passion. They had a goal, right? Your goal was to win the cup.
My goal,
His goal was to stay on the team.
My goal was not to get sacked. My goal was not to go and get drunk and get sacked.
So
I think he had different goals if he's honest.
Those goals failed 3 times, big time.
Yeah, so we just wanted to show that that was your passion at that time. So now let's get a new goal so you're still passionate about it. Because when you're passionate about something, it doesn't feel like work. And that's what we don't want people to feel, like that they're working this new job and it's not enjoyable, they hate their lives. Like, that's not what we want. We want people to be passionate about something, and then the money will come.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully.
With us, it will.
No, but nine times
got us
out
on
of
your
10,
team, yeah.
nine times out
Yeah.
of 10, it will come off if you're passionate about it.
And you keep going.
And you've got a good
exactly.
network behind you and a good team with you. It's all about teamwork. It's everything.
That makes the dream.
Exactly.
Going into
work.
business
exactly.
is so much like being in a team. Like if you've got the core business or core group of players in your team, like leaders, your business will go to levels where you didn't even think they could go.
100%. Just like on a team, you have your strength and conditioning coach, you have your head coach, you have all the different components of a team,
It
and
all
just
come
like
together.
you would in your
Yeah.
business.
You have the
your
strong guys,
accountants,
the
you have
fast
your
guys.
lawyers, you have everyone else that are experts in what they do to help you succeed.
I guess also work ethic is pretty transferable to anything you do.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've gone to a professional standard at a you've got work ethic. At somewhere along the line you've developed work ethic. Natural talent will, that sort of stops at a point. So I guess if that's transferable towards your job, then
Yeah, and also chasing a dream that not many people can see, or that it's really, to become a professional athlete, the statistics, they're not in your favor. It's really, really low. I know in America it's ridiculously low. So to keep pushing towards something, even though the odds are against you and it's hard and you have to show up every day, like that's stuff you need in business, because every day you're going to fail and the odds are not in your favor. But when you do make it, it's like so worth it. So
That was our dream, going to America. Australian girls wanting to go over to America and compete against the American
You would have been
girls.
told 1,000 times, don't do it.
Yeah, especially the position
would-
that I played.
yeah.
They're like, you can't play quarterback. You're Australian. You don't understand the game. You can't do it.
you're not strong
was like,
enough.
oh, yeah.
You can't compete
Yeah, I'll show
against
you.
American girls.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. That's what we got told.
that's
But we-
America for you, though.
yeah.
That's-
no, that was Australians
No,
saying that to us.
before we went over
Americans
there.
have got a funny
But Americans better than Australians. If you get to a level in Australia, there's always something.
Tall
A
poppy.
lot of people trying to cut you down. Where I find in America, if you're on the way up, they'll keep on boosting you up.
Yeah.
To a better
Do you
degree
think
than
that's
what
a
we do.
bigger
They have a fan culture over there.
It's like Melbourne with the AFL. Like their fan culture down there, it's a religion. It's over there.
People actually,
It's
it's
insane.
They'll
Quincy-
message you like,
yeah.
"Can I be your number one fan?" I'm like, "You can do it."
Hey,
Like,
for $400, yes, you can. I'll
Pay the
send you a
pay
certificate.
the fee and you're done. Yeah, done.
Yeah,
100%,
number
And
one
You got the
status.
title.
And this post is $70. It's
Yeah.
double because you're my number one.
I'm send you a
Yeah.
platinum poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going
So
to sign this in gold pen.
Yeah.
Quincy and I, we were in Buffalo, New York, and it was raining, it was snowing, it was freezing. We went to the Buffalo Bills game, and all of their fans were outside tailgating 3 hours before the game started. They're all in
freezing.
attendance. It was
Yeah.
sold out game. And if it's slightly chilly here in Brisbane, no one's going to the game. You know what I mean? Like,
If it looks
it's
overcast,
completely
though.
different.
Stay at home.
Yeah, I was
I'll
like,
watch it on the TV.
I think that must be a big country thing, because being from New Zealand, that's quite often the way. Like they and I find Australia's a little bit more accepting of your dreams and your aspirations. So if America's even better again, then maybe it's got to do with like the reality of a small environment. Like New Zealand's a small place.
Yep.
You get a bit bigger in Australia, so it's a bit more achievable. Things seem a bit more, within grasp. And then you go to America, and apparently everything's possible over there.
yeah, they're so open-minded, just with everything that they do, the way that you dress, like the Americans are just wild. You
But
can
maybe where
be-
you were, I bet you if you went to a small city in America, you'd like.
Well, we went to Shipshawana.
Where's that?
That's
It's
where the
in
Amish.
It's in Indiana. It's the Amish capital of America.
Oh,
So Quincy
get
and
me
I, we
there
went through this.
for a night out of the day. Get me there with the Amish, for God's sake.
They drink Bill's milk over there.
Yeah, no, I'm in for anything.
Yeah, we were really fascinated by Amish culture, and we only lived 3 hours away from Shipshawana. So we were like, you know what? One day let's just go for a trip there.
Are
and
they
see how it
Amish
is.
are the ones with the curly? Have they got the curly
Amish-
sides?
Amish
No,
got
no.
the girls with the...
And they wear the bonnets and
Yeah.
they
The bonnets,
Yeah.
they
They have, like,
horse
the
and
horse and
buggy. They
buggy.
don't
Yeah.
have technology there.
Yep.
no phones. They wear like.
So they're not going to
full
listen to this
suit.
podcast, which so you can bag them. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, but you're driving along the road in your car, and they're going along in their buggies with the little license plate on the buggy, so they don't have cars. So it's like a whole new world.
And they all build each other's houses and that. They all get in.
They
it's like a
all work.
community.
It's like a community, and then if you want to leave, I think
At-
you're
at
allowed
16,
you're allowed to go away
year
for
away.
1 year, and then after that
In the
year's up,
outside
if
world.
you don't choose to come back, then you're shunned for good.
I wonder what the rate is on that. 90% don't come back, surely.
No,
Because why would you?
I'm not,
Once you-
I'm not going to
Get
say
a taste
I
of the
guess
outside world. You're like, I'm
yeah,
not
you're
coming back.
like, what? I'm not coming to that.
I'm going to Vegas. Imagine the little Amish 16-year-old kid going to Vegas for the first time. You're thinking, how good is
That's a
this?
silly age if you want for attention.
16.
Like send them out at about 10 when they miss their parents, and then they'll be back. At 16, they're like, we're on here.
I'm
There's
curious
no
now.
way I'm going back to that. Go to California or something like that. I've never been to the States, so I wouldn't know where the
I'm supposed to be
hotspots
there
are.
tomorrow.
But you
actually.
know what? One of the houses we drove past had an NBA hoop. I'm like, how do you know about the NBA if you don't have television?
Yeah, they're all walking around their iPhone 11s. In their pocket.
Yeah, well, they must know. That's like the. I watched a documentary on the Westboro Baptist Church. Have you seen them?
No.
Most hated family in the world.
No.
They pick it at like dead soldiers' funerals and things like that. I don't go too much into it. They're bad people. They're not very nice people.
Oh, don't go down rabbit holes. I'm sick of going down rabbit holes.
I could go deep on these
Stay
guys.
down rabbit hole.
There's a lot of
Do
different.
yourself a favour, but
My
go and watch it.
rabbit
But they
whack.
like they basically they take the Bible literally, like everything. Like they pick it outside soldiers' funerals with "God hates fags" signs. They're awful people.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And like
Oh,
yeah,
I've
or
seen
you've probably seen them. You would have
Yeah,
to
I've
have
seen
seen them. Yeah, it's good to watch. But they're on Twitter and they like go back and forth with people on Twitter. I'm thinking, well, if you're they're trying to convert people and bring them into their church from Twitter, and that's actually what's caused a lot of them to leave because people actually reason with them and say, oh, read this, read that, and then their leaving
Getting
rate
too
is
much good information.
too much of the
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, he's over there. I want to ask you about hanging out with the NFL stars. Who's your number one boy?
Well, I mean, we trained alongside a lot
A
of
lot
them.
of them.
Yeah.
Come on. good question, Chris. The door's
More
that way.
specific
Yeah.
with the questioning.
No. Well, who are the?
I think you
who are
should
the,
get the
who are the
silent
best
treatment there,
guys?
Chris. That's
Who are the
just
best guys you hung out with? Like who are the biggest names? Talk to me.
Name drop.
Oh yeah, come on, name drop. Okay.
I mean, we hung out with a lot of great athletes.
Yeah, right.
It's
So
hard to just
the gyms
pick
that we
one.
trained in
Yeah.
in Chicago, especially, or what, even out in LA, we went to USC and trained at their facilities with a lot of the college guys. We trained with
Proactive Sports Performance in Thousand Oaks, California.
Yep.
EFT Sports Performance in Chicago.
Yeah, so lots of NFL guys,
Yeah.
lots of NBA players. I mean, it's they're
MLB, a
everywhere.
lot of MLB as
Yeah,
well.
right.
Yeah.
all of the big names, Chris.
All of the big
Yeah.
names.
That's it.
LeBron.
No,
No,
Well, that's the names I want. I want to hear the names.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Intrigued
were
me.
the biggest names in the gym.
That's right.
the Q and
They actually
J.
they hung around with you
They
guys.
hung out
They're
with
actually on podcasts right now talking about
Yeah.
us.
Okay, good.
I trained with
Right.
those girls once.
Yeah, when they get asked about big names, they drop our name.
Did they give any points? Were they pretty were they helpful with you guys?
Yeah,
Like
we
coming
trained
through?
actually
Obviously,
with them. Like
they-
we did the same workouts.
Yeah, the
They
exact
gave
same workouts. We went to the field with them. We ran with them. We ran routes with them.
Passed with them, like everything.
That's
So it's cool.
Yeah.
That's real cool.
Yeah.
So
See,
that
that's
could-
that's
yeah.
the answer I wanted. Don't worry about names. Don't worry about names. You just want to know if he's
I got that after about 10
What name
seconds.
did you
that
want
were
us to
getting
drop?
no name.
Yeah. I was like,
Michael Vick, something like that.
See, I don't know any NFL players barely at all. I know that bloke who just got 50 odd million.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that guy.
Struggling. What's it? 530, 503.
Or was it 500? So, I mean,
503 million.
I'm talking everything 6 monthly.
52 million. So $53 million every year for 10 years. Something like that, wasn't it?
it's not bad.
Crazy.
Not
Half
bad.
$1 billion to do exactly what he loves doing, and
mon-
he's good at.
The
And he's
money
good
over there is
looking.
horrific, isn't it? Well, like
It's
some of the
terrible.
money they pay for. I had a friend of mine. His friend was in the Major League Baseball, and they worked out that he was $6,000 a pitch
It's
every time he threw
crazy.
the ball. $6,000.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
I'd do it for
Really good.
5.
so did I, but no one hit me
Well,
up.
there was this backup quarterback that he played for about, 13 years or something. He probably took 20 snaps his entire career. He made 20 million. So he made 1 million
No
a
way.
snap.
What's a snap?
Oh,
The ball gets-
I do not know anything about American football.
so when
Play
the
the ball.
center
Oh, okay,
snaps
yeah.
the ball into the quarterback's hands, that's a play. So a snap.
So he did that
Played
20
about 20 snaps because he was a backup quarterback.
Okay, yep,
So he made about $1 million a snap. Not bad.
it's red hot.
Yeah, right up.
But what they don't like, that's the thing. Like you're saying about the percentage of people that actually make it over there. Like he would have been the creme de la creme of his college football. Like to even make it to the NFL, he would have had to been like the tip top of college of that year, probably for that, for the whole of the country.
Yeah, 98% don't make it. Isn't that the
It's something
statistic?
crazy like
Even
that.
that,
There's-
yeah, 98% of what college athletes or
Don't make it into the NFL.
There's like 0.03% of people make it to the NFL.
It's,
Like, we'll have one
it's
game.
literally almost
You get to play one
impossible.
game. I had a young fellow.
that's
That's a bit.
that's
No, no,
contradictory.
no,
Who's
I-
right here?
Okay, there's a young.
Because you
kid-
said 98%, you said 0.003, which is
no. They can. There's 2% that make the roster.
All
but
right,
not all of
okay,
them. Not all of them get to have a game.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. Like Jared Hayne.
Or you might
He
get
played.
picked-
He got to play. He played.
He
5
played in
NFL.
preseason, didn't he? Oh, he played.
He played.
in the
And
regular
his
season.
first catch, he dropped it, fumbled it
Was that in a real?
twice in a row.
Sorry.
Yeah. So in his
It's American correspondent over there.
I was living there. I was watching him.
Yeah. So in the
Not the home plane anymore.
in the trial matches, he killed it.
Yeah.
And they gave him a gig in the first, didn't they? And then he dropped it
He
twice.
caught,
Eh?
he caught San Fran's like first, like he was the first kick return
Yeah.
of the season. And
Drops
then he
it.
did it
Oh.
again. The next
And
week
they took him
"You're on
off.
the bench, bro.
I had,
that's it.
It was at Cutthroat. We had this young guy come over and play. Silas Red, his name was. He played for Washington Redskins. He come over to try and make it in the NRL, and he played with the Jets. And he was their number
What was
2.
his name?
Silas Red. Champion bloke.
Yeah.
He
What a name.
yeah, he was second string for the Washington Redskins. The first guy dropped it twice. Coach throws him on. He gets the ball once, makes like 4 yards, which is good. And then as he's gone down, he's fumbled it. Coach has gone, off you go.
Fuck.
Never to play again.
One shot at the title.
One shot
Yep.
at the title.
That's all you get.
Gets his break because the first guy was rat shit.
Yeah.
And then he goes and stuffs up his first run. He gets taken off. Didn't play again.
Who'd they put on then?
Don't know. Probably the kicker.
Anyone but him.
Yeah.
The physio.
That's right. 'Cause it's an admirable sport, and especially the college stuff. That's even bigger than most of the games we get here, isn't it? That,
Yeah.
like that,
College
way
is
there's
bigger.
people that love
college
college
is bigger than NFL in America.
Colleges make a shitload from the
Well, that's
footy
strange.
programs.
Yeah. Why do they love college so much? What's the theory
Yeah, what
behind
is the
that?
theory behind that, Jim?
Well, college, they're in more towns, whereas NFL teams, there's only
Oh.
32, right?
Right,
Whereas
yeah.
college are in the smaller
right.
towns, there's more of them. So you get to support your hometown college.
So there's
But
more of
everyone
a
gets behind it.
there's
yeah.
more of a hometown feel rather
Yeah.
than you're supporting like a district. Like I
Yeah.
see that
And do
makes
you know,
sense.
Yeah.
Silas, he used to play for LA, and he used to go to school, and he got $400 a week, and he was their number one running back, and other players in the basketball and the NFL team or the college team, they had to sell things like the girls did, not those things, but to get through their college.
Shit, really?
Yeah, and then then he goes and signs a $2 million contract with Washington after school and makes bank.
So the college football stuff is a business, isn't it? Really?
And
Yeah.
it's your chance to get like film so that all the
Yeah.
all the professional teams can see you.
Yep.
So you know, and these college athletes, they're like movie stars or superstars within their community. So
In that small town.
yeah,
Right.
Everyone
Big fish in a
knows
little fit.
Big fish in a
Fish
little
in
pond.
a little
Little
pond,
pond.
Spot
Yeah.
That's what I was
But I
saying.
mean, it's a giant pond. They've got
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of fans. You know, their Instagrams are huge. There's the opportunities for them. People are buying them. You know,
Yeah.
they get free food and like, you know what I mean? Like they're just, especially
Life
because
becomes
a lot
easy.
of them come from low socioeconomic backgrounds. To come into this environment where everyone loves you and everyone wants to help you, it's
Yeah.
like a whole. Like we trained with a guy in Chicago who got offered to go to the NFL while he was in college, and he turned it down because he wanted to finish college because he was loving college so much, and he thought
Such a superstar.
such a superstar.
I don't blame the
And then he got in trouble with the cops and a few little things, and then he didn't make the NFL. But at that time, his experience in college was so amazing that
Yep.
he
He
didn't
didn't
want to
wanna
leave.
Oh,
Is
you
that
imagine
mind blowing to you?
that. Oh,
But when you come
No.
from,
But then once you go to the NFL, you're not a big fish anymore. Everyone else is just as talented as you are.
and there's
Yeah.
usually bigger fish in
Yeah.
your team.
Yeah, exactly.
but more financial gain though.
Yeah.
If you make it.
Yeah, that's
if
crazy.
you're the
isn't it?
0.03%.
Because you got to make it through training
Yeah.
camp. Just because you sign a contract with the team doesn't mean you are guaranteed a spot.
Yeah.
Only, 53 sign a
Yeah.
contract and play.
So what's the avenue for girls, ladies, from Australia to get there? Do they have scouts over here, or do you just have to hit and hope and head over there and just try out?
We were just really lucky that the season we played in Australia, the coaches watched that film and they reached out to a couple girls and were like, do you want to come play in the States? And some of us took the opportunity.
So we
Yeah.
had game film, so
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was fine.
Were there girls before you guys went over?
Yeah, Chloe Butler was the
Yeah, the
first
first,
Australian
yeah.
to ever
How
play.
long
So
you-
she used to date Tim Grant from the Panthers.
Oh, yeah. Big Timmy
So
Grant.
when I played for New South Wales, she played on our team also, and we played at Penrith Stadium because he
I remember
obviously
that.
liaised that deal. Yeah, so our first game was at
Mhm.
Penrith Stadium.
Yeah. And I
Um,
played at Skilled Park. That was our Queensland home
Really?
stadium. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trailblazers, that place. There's a couple of try scores in the corner there. A couple of drop balls too. Missed tackles.
Yeah, neither. Nothing for me. I just watch from the stands. But the so what kind of crowds do they get? Is it very popular here? I've never actually. I don't know that guys
Melbourne-
played, let alone girls
well,
played it.
The Melbourne team got
I think the biggest crowd was like 13,000.
Oh, wow.
That was in
really?
Melbourne. They were
Australia.
playing at Amy Park.
Mm.
Amy Park, yeah.
Yeah, and Perth used to get big crowds. Obviously, we didn't at Penrith because
And we didn't.
I think we had 4.5 grand. I mean, 4,500 at.
Yeah,
Penrith.
we
But
only
what
had a
they
couple
did, they
thousand as
really
well.
didn't push the ticket sales.
That's
They
bigger than most of the Titans games.
They had a and they had a
Girls
um,
right, and
Girls
Broncos
probably beat them too.
and Broncos games.
yeah, they had a TV deal with 7mate, and all of our games were televised in
Yeah.
what, like 42 countries, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They had it
Yeah.
everywhere, so they were more focused on the TV deals and
Yeah.
the YouTube and things like that.
Then ticket sales.
They didn't really push. They put everyone on one side and filmed from the other.
Yeah, true.
The same in the US. Like we had big crowds in Omaha, but
Yeah.
the rest are just average. Omaha, is a small
Seattle
town.
had a big crowd.
Yeah,
They won Sixth Man of the Year.
Chicago didn't.
They won what of the year?
Sixth Man of the Year. Like Sixth Man is the fans, the support.
Oh, did they?
Fuck, America do it all, eh?
Yeah, no.
Awards
There's
for
an
the
award
crowd.
for everything. They love an award and
Yeah.
they love a holiday.
Americans will
There's a
celebrate
National
any-
Donut Day. There's a National Day for everything over there.
No, there's not.
There
Yes, there
is.
is.
They celebrate everything. It's your kid's first birthday, and they'll literally have like a circus. Like
Yeah.
they go so hard over there.
They love to
Everything's
celebrate.
big. Everything's
Love to
big.
celebrate.
Yeah, they.
Love
Big
a
food.
reason to drink.
Big portions of food.
Yeah.
Have you been? You've never been?
I've been to Hawaii.
Is that America?
Yeah.
You're damn right it was.
Oh, it is.
I was spending American dollars, so you're damn right it was.
Yeah.
I sung the national anthem.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's close. But everything was supersized. Everything was,
Yeah.
very strange place.
And they're loud. Did you find
Yeah.
that they're loud, like at restaurants when they were talking with each other, they're really, really loud?
Just in general.
Yeah, they are.
You should. In our locker room, it was so funny. Jane and I were probably the
Most
most quiet.
Church mouse.
Yeah, over there they're crazy. They're twerking on each other's heads and
Oh,
screaming.
get me in that dressing chair.
So they get lots of islanders, like Pacific Islanders, are now making their way over to the NFL because as heavily like Utah, there's quite a few Islanders in Utah. Is that right?
I think they have a
I
lot in the
have been
college.
to Utah, but I don't know about that.
Because obviously they're a bigger bodied person.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're good on the line.
Utah is the Mormon capital of America.
Yeah, that's why I thought there was
Yeah.
lots, because lots of Islanders are Mormon as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Maybe I just guessed that. But so lots of what I'm saying is lots of men, lots of Islander men heading over there. Is that the same with women?
No, well, with our league, it was a little bit different. Our league was really fast paced. Obviously, it was the Lingerie Football League turned Legends
Yeah.
Football League.
We played 7-a-side
so
on
Oh,
a 50
okay.
by 30 yard field. So
well, how many are usually on a team?
50.
13. No, 11. What is
Oh.
it? No, it's normally 11 aside.
11 aside. Okay, so you were just
Even the women's teams here, 11 on 11.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like in the normal full kit league.
Oh, so it's
But ours was in an arena.
Right,
So it was
okay.
smaller,
In like an
shorter.
ice hockey arena. And we wore ice hockey helmets, like with the glass shield. We didn't wear the...
they didn't play on ice.
No, but they put the turf on top of the ice, so it might as well
Sometimes
have
it
been.
was really
Oh,
cold. Like when you were warming up, like your feet were
Freezing.
just so
So how come you
cold.
wore the ice hockey masks?
They liked showing
look
our
of-
faces.
Wow.
Oh, I see.
There was no,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Who won
for
the league?
protection.
Yeah,
Uh,
Donald Trump.
Kind
I mean,
of.
this guy has the same tan as Trump.
Oh,
Whoa.
boom. Go on, run at each other now for that run. I want to see you do the run at each other challenge.
That's so funny.
Who would win, actually? Who would win the run at me a challenge?
I don't know what the challenge is. What, you just run at each other?
Yeah, haven't you seen those guys just get drunk and just run at each other?
No.
No.
I'll show you.
Okay.
Tonight, let's do it on the pavilion.
At the
At the
Burley
pavilion.
Pavilion.
I don't want no part of that.
I don't want to be a part of that after being there Thursday night. I think I got kicked out, so I don't think I can go. No, I didn't. But
So back to
That
your
didn't surprise me.
yeah, no. Back to the sports management side of things, like that. So, how many, like, what sports are predominantly coming to you guys for this sort of, after help? Is it something you're advertising
Athletes
within
for
each?
Athletes.
That's it, Athletes for Athletes. Is it something that you're advertising in each industry? Like, are you getting people that are predominantly coming back from America, or are you getting people who are like in Australia itself?
We have a mix. To be
Yeah.
honest, we haven't really promoted our business that much in the last 7 or 8 months. Like we
Yeah.
went through a phase when we first started where that was
Yeah.
our main priority, but we have so many things on at the moment that unless someone comes to us and they're super passionate and they're ready to go, we're not really picking up too much more. We wasted a lot of time in the beginning with people who, they've got the talk, they want to do everything, but then don't back it up. So, we spent a lot of time with those people, and now we're in a position where
Yeah.
it's, we've got a guy who he played for the Brisbane Bullets. He's American, so he was their import. So we're working with him on a really cool app project. We had a former NFL guy who's from the US, so he's not an Australian. with an app.
When we first started our business, majority of our clients were from the US because we had just been over there. Everyone, like we had our network was over there. So when we were promoting our business, they saw it and then they reached out to us. And then we were just trying to recruit Australian athletes.
So now
while we were here.
Yeah. COVID put an end to traveling because we were thinking we were going to go back overseas. Everything we do is online so that we could travel again. And now we've been here, a year and a half.
Yep.
And there's no end in sight. So I mean, Australian athletes would love to work with, but like we said, like they've got to be ready to do something.
Yep.
Because it's work.
So is sports all over for both of you now?
Yes. When we first come back,
Quincy had a little stint as a professional boxer.
No, but we started.
Not professional.
No,
but
we started.
She did train.
We were thinking.
Or did you,
I was going to manage her.
I feel like there's a side story here. Did you get in a punch up one night at the pub or something? And
no, but we just, when you're just really resistant to let go of being an athlete, like that's all
we started going to a boxing gym in West End and we were just doing it for fun. And some boxing promoter saw us there and they're like, "Oh, you guys should fight." And then we're like, "Oh,
starting lingerie boxing league."
I mean, I think there's money in that.
Yeah.
LBL.
Lingerie boxing.
You can have that. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's ours. Yeah. So we kind of, but then when you want to do anything, if I'm going to do it, I want to be the best.
Yep.
So then we started we were watching YouTube, we were running
watching
the roads,
boxing
we were skipping, we were.
I was doing all the workouts with her and I was managing it.
And I'm like, one day we were just
watch Rocky?
so tired.
Yeah, we did watch Rocky. We watched Rocky. We watched Southpaw because she's Southpaw.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So we really got into it, and then we were just so tired. And I'm like,
why are we
what
doing
are we
this again?
doing? There's no money.
Isn't that the point of it though? I'm so tired. Isn't that part of being an athlete?
Yeah, but I don't want to
put
be
in our hard yards.
Yeah, I don't want to be a tired, broke athlete anymore. I wanted to make money. So the business was like going on the back foot because I was going to be this new boxer.
Yep.
And I'm like,
what are we doing?
what are we doing? So we just reevaluated.
I remember one morning they were like, "Okay, you got to skip rope for 15 minutes." I'm like, "I'm out."
We just got asked the other day if we wanted to. What was that dodgeball or not?
Ultimate Tag to be on this show. Ultimate Tag.
They just I don't know. There's a new show. It's being filmed in
like
Sydney.
high school playground tag, but ultimate tag.
So it's like all athletes running around tagging each other.
Yeah, we got asked to be on that
Sounds
show.
like a blast.
Yeah, but I just think
It's just not my jam.
Nah.
I'm not
tired.
I'm going to be getting tagged. I don't want to be on TV getting tagged. Like if I'm going to play, I want to win.
Yeah. Seems, yeah. They're just really TVA. They'll come up with anything nowadays.
Yeah, they will.
We got asked to be on
Farmer Wants a Wife.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You should have done it.
one.
I do love
What was
Farmer.
another one? What was the other one? I got asked to be on another
Married
one.
at First Sight.
No, Love
Island?
Oh, it was something like that. I can't remember. I have to look in my
I know a
notes.
couple of mates have been in Love Island and maths.
My wife loves Farmer Wants a Wife. My wife and daughter sit there watching it. They love it. And
I think Quincy would have killed it on that show.
But do you know what? Here's my problem. This is if I like she was, my wife decided, she goes, I could get that farmer easy. I was like, why are you thinking like that? For starters, for starters, stop right now. Yeah, and I said, secondly, if I was a farmer, I'd put myself in the farmer's shoes. You've got like six, seven girls vying for your attention. Are those girls there because they want to find true love and be married to a farmer, or are they competitive? Like I can imagine you two girls coming from a sports background.
Like, I gotta win this.
You're like, well, none of these six bitches are going to beat me. And and you are more focused on just winning, and then it becomes more about winning than it does become about actually what the essence of the show should be about.
So what do you get when you win though? Just the farm, or do you get a prize?
And his farm. And his cows and his
That's exactly what I'm afraid of.
You get your husband and you're like, is there another prize?
See,
I'm not also about chasing.
Is it
if I heard
prize?
that, if I heard that in my interview and I saw it, I'd be like, well, she's gone. Yeah. She's cleally only here for the prize.
Do I get my own farm as well?
Yeah, the ducks. The
Is
ducks.
it just him? Because effectively you're saying, is it just him I get? That's all you're saying.
Oh, shit.
See?
Yeah, there you
You're
go.
exactly the people I'm talking about. Competitive women.
But we want to have a farm one day, just like as a getaway for the weekend. So I mean, we don't need a farmer to have that.
No.
Oh shit, this is this masculine energy we're talking about.
Yeah,
Jesus.
we've been told that we have a lot of masculine energy. I don't know if you guys have picked up on it or not.
No, I wouldn't say that. No.
Yeah,
no.
I agree.
No.
I think we're quite
Not
feminine.
from here.
Did
Yeah.
like non-alpha males tell you that? Like some guy who spent
they
more
had
time
to
with
have
you
been.
than you did? because that's a lot of probably what happened.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm blown away by that. I'm going to tell my wife, you are the people, both of you.
Yeah.
Just
People that you're warned about.
Yeah, I warned. I said I'd be concerned about wanting me as a
I think
farmer.
anyone going on that show's got an edge. You can say like, yeah, I want to find love, but there's also got to be another reason that drives you, because you could find love with a farmer
Instagram
without going
followers.
on the show.
Mm.
Yeah, they want to build a profile, because when
Well, that's what
when
it's
they
about.
asked me, I
what it's
thought
about.
to
Yeah,
myself,
exactly.
oh, that could be good for my brand, because then I'm going to be on TV, and I'll be thinking, oh, they're going to be like, what do you do? And I'll be like, well, I have this business.
Yeah,
Athletes for
plug the
Athletes.
business.
You just come up with
Yeah.
shirts with athletes for athletes every day.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity. But I mean, I wouldn't.
Well,
I'm
I wouldn't
not
be
about-
down to chase and compete for a man. Sorry,
No.
but that's not me.
I'm with the show where I'm the one they're competing for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there are shows like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, what is it? Bachelorette? The Bachelor?
Gosh.
So it's basically back to I'm interested in Athletes for Athletes because I reckon it's a real. I had and not long ago I had Trevor Hendy in here. I don't know if you know him. He was basically king of the ocean, wasn't he? Really, like
Oh, okay.
former Ironman, like the Uncle Toby's Ironman, and he was
wow.
the king.
So it's not Nutrigrain anymore. It's Uncle Toby's now.
Used to be Uncle Toby's.
Oh.
Yeah, it used to be Uncle Toby's. Now it's
Now, is it-
It's Nutrigrain.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it used to be
Oh, it
Uncle
is, okay.
Toby's. That was back when they used to make big money. They used to make really good money. Now
Yeah.
it's not so much. But he was super competitive, and then he took like a more holistic approach to his sport, and he sort of just lost all his ego. It's really interesting actually, and I often wondered. I asked him why. How come you're not? Where does that competitive drive go? Because after life, when you go not after sports life, when you leave, you have to go in industry. Does that still ruthlessness? Because he was ruthless, like he was a king. Where does that go? It just doesn't disappear. You don't just decide, oh, that's not me anymore. Like Michael Jordan, you hear about Michael Jordan, he still bets $100,000 on a game of golf. So that never goes, and that's the reason why he was the man at what he was. So in what you're doing, do you have to try and harness the people they are and put them in an industry where that can be absorbed? Like you can, like what I'm trying to say is,
Yeah,
I'm bumbling my way through it, but most professional athletes or athletes that have come to the top are ruthless with what they want to do.
I mean, it just depends. I guess everyone's really different. The approach that we've taken personally is to try and like step back and not be like to slow things down, because we've always done everything so fast and like aggressive.
Yeah.
So
But we're still competitive with our goal.
Yep.
so
What's the
I
goal?
think
What's the goal?
Well,
cover of Forbes.
cover of Forbes magazine for women in business.
That's the Everest. That's the
I mean, being
Well,
a
because you got to have
billionaire.
your Everest, don't you? You got to have your
Multiple.
one that's like the
Yeah.
the
Well, we want to have multi-million-dollar companies. We
Yep.
want to have a property portfolio. We want to be on the cover of Forbes. We want to impact women in business, and just have a positive impact on people's lives in what we do, and
Yeah.
just have like purposeful work. So that's what our goal is.
Yeah, hopefully inspire people that you can come from the bottom and you can get to the top. And
Yep.
you know what I mean? You don't have to have it all on a platter. I think that would be really cool.
yeah, because it's work ethic. I guess it gains that too, isn't it? Because people look at what you've got and what you can, the business probably where it's at now, where you're making a living. It's a successful business, but I guarantee you there was probably a time where
We
it wouldn't have
started
put
our
food on the table.
We started our business
Yeah.
in the spare room at Jane's mum's, and we shared the bed, and we've got photos of it. Like I'm like, one day it's going to be like the Google or the those photos where you see it's made at mum's garage.
The guy from Amazon that has the Amazon sign behind his computer.
Yeah, like when we were doing all of our videos when we first started, it was in her mum's like carport, and there was so much shit behind it. And we look at those videos now.
We're like, wow,
Wow, I can't believe we put that on the internet. It was like a rubbish bin and like books and.
Yeah.
So humble beginnings.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Oh, you do, yeah, spot on.
Definitely.
I agree. So what's the day-to-day week like for you then, for both of you? Because do you work? So how does it work? In the sense that your business partners, do you have your own people you deal with, or do you deal with them as a pair?
No, we work as kind of one unit.
Yeah.
This is what works for us. So we've been together so long, we kind of can read
sync.
each other.
Well, because
Yeah.
we work together in sport. Quincy was my offensive line. She's my blind. Have you seen the movie Blindside?
Yep.
Yeah, so she was my blindside tackle. I was the quarterback. So she had my back. If it wasn't for her, I couldn't do my job. And
Wait a
vice
minute.
versa.
So are you the big black guy, or are you the big black guy?
I am the big
Big black guy.
Yeah, so I'm Michael Orr. So like my job
Yeah.
was to protect her blindside. She's right-handed, so
So she was
so-
my left side
so
tackle.
we were completely in sync.
So you're right-handed. Mm-hmm. You throw with your right hand, and
Yeah.
where are you? You're here.
I'm on the
on my
left
left.
side.
So if you think about it, when I drop
Yeah.
back,
There,
I'm
catch it.
turned to my right. That's my blind side.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
That's where Quincy was. I can't see the rush coming from that direction.
Right. So you stop.
So
you
you're
stop.
getting hit from behind. You're blaming. Jane's blaming Quincy.
Right.
Yeah. It happened to
Well, 3
One
years.
time.
3 years.
I feel like there's a bit of a. She's
Yeah.
like, and the bitch got me twice.
Yeah. Touch.
No, 3 years, 3 sacks. That's not bad.
Not
That's
bad.
not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 years,
Yeah.
3 sacks.
From
From your
Quincy's
blind
side.
side.
From Quincy's side.
Not too bad.
That's great.
Could have been
That's
better.
actually great.
One
That's a
time
great start.
she gave the O-line all headphones and she didn't give me some, so I gave her, just one hit.
Yeah, that game.
Just
I got
reminded.
There you go, bitch. Get that into you. That'll teach
She
you.
already had a pair. Like, what, you want 2?
For someone who's
That's a
got your back.
competitive. That's a competitive streak into it.
No, but so she's
But that's what I mean. Like, we've always been a team.
Yep.
And we're like that in business too.
Yeah, so she's really tech savvy. She's really good with numbers, spreadsheets. I'm the worst at that.
Yep.
But I love chatting and, I'm good to just jump on calls with people. And so we just kind of balance each
Yep.
other out and
Yeah.
try and just pick up the slack. We obviously want to learn the crossover,
Yep.
but we obviously naturally
We know
ju-
our strengths and we
Yeah,
know
we
our
just-
weaknesses. And
we just play to that.
Yeah, I guess that's the best partnership, isn't it? When you're weak at something that you're strong at, and vice versa.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
I'm left brain dominant. She's right brain dominant.
And I'm left hand, she's right hand. So we're literally like half of each other.
That's crazy, yeah.
She's my soul sister.
Sometimes we have conversations and I'll stop talking and then she'll continue on.
Yep.
And people
I know
will be-
exactly what she's saying. Like, I'm following with it in my mind, and then she stops, and I'm just like, oh, no, I just pick up exactly where she left
Well,
off.
see how I did that? So I stopped and then she finishes the
going.
sentence.
Yes.
So we
That's why
don't.
I'm like.
Yeah,
See,
and
my
people.
two brothers are like that. My 2 older brothers, they're coaches, and I played with them in 2015 under their coaching. Ben would start a sentence, Shane would finish it. Shane would start a sentence, Ben would finish it.
They're not
and
twins, are they?
No, they're 2 years older.
Yeah.
And the players would just go, "What's going on here?" Like it was like they rehearsed it, but it was just off the cuff. And these two here are like the same.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's a team.
it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
We try and telepathically send each other messages too. I'm like, did you get that?
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're in trouble.
Yeah. I got a similar thing, but my wife will say stuff brashly and really offensively, and I'll have to go back and go, well, what she actually means is you've done that incorrect, and can you please change it?
I like your wife.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had plenty of earfuls from her.
So
Trust me. Yeah. But it's good. No, it's a cool industry. I like I often think about that as an industry in and of itself. As like you hear so many stories of mainly rugby league players, because I follow it as well, that make all this money and then literally have nothing to show for it come retirement.
Yeah,
and that's scary to me. Like that would almost be a massive thing that would throw someone into a depression.
And
Because you
that's-
think I've earned
and that's what happens.
six,
Yeah, that is
700
what
grand a year, and I literally can't even put food on my table the next year.
the statistics for
The same with the
athletes that
NFL and the
go
NBA.
through depression, anxiety,
Yeah.
suicide, all athletes across the board, even Olympic. Imagine training to be an Olympian and then you're no longer that. It's
Yep.
just it's like you go to the peak and then you literally walk off the cliff. All the trainers, all the fans, all of your support staff,
Backslappers
all
are
of your
gone.
team,
Yeah.
everyone leaves, and then you look around, you're like, who the fuck am I and what am I going to do?
But it's also like what you said before. You miss that camaraderie. You miss that teamwork. You miss going to training. You miss bagging each other out. Then you get in the car. You train. Before you get in the car, you train your ass off. You release all the endorphins.
Yeah.
You feel amazing. You get in the car. As soon as you retire, that's all gone. You don't train as hard. Well, not many people train as hard.
Yeah.
And then you miss that camaraderie. You miss that purpose. It feels like
Yeah.
you're
You also
missing
don't
a
have
bit
the
of
hit
purpose.
of endorphins as well.
Yeah, you don't.
Lose out,
There's
you
so
lose out
many.
on that.
Oh, you do, especially now. I went through it. I went through it when I finished playing football. It's crazy how your head can just go from being super positive in a frame of mind that nothing will beat you to, holy fuck, I'm sort of struggling now. But I never went into depression, but I know what it's like. You miss that camaraderie is key to moving.
Someone with a
And that's how come you used to go hand in hand, because you guys have stepped away from the sport that you've loved or that you've dominated in. Now you're going into the business world. You can do it together.
Yeah.
And that's where
And I'm so grateful that I had her throughout that whole process and still do.
And
Because if I didn't, I don't know where I'd be.
And that's crazy. Like, exactly right. Like, you look at, like, you were talking, when I first met you ages ago, you were talking about the NRL. You guys were trying to get in and help the NRL. And it's like, cool. Before you'd finished what you were saying, I was thinking, yes, the NRL are going to jump on board with you two. And they sort of fizzled out and stepped away. I was like, this is crazy. Like the NRL should be
There needs to
encouraging
be,
you guys to come in and talk to the players that are on the back end of their career.
Yeah. I get from the NRL's perspective, it's a company, it's a business. They're paying people to come here and play football. What you do outside of that is like if I worked in real estate, my job isn't responsible for finding me my next job and making sure I'm comfortable. But just that whole community as an athlete is like a family. So it should have that feel of like, okay, we no longer need you, but we want to make sure that you're okay. Yeah. And it's really not. They put on a front that they want to help, and they've got all these little
programs through your career and all that sort of stuff, but they don't do anything.
I think the NRL, what did they have? Cert 3 in
hospitality and trades.
An apprenticeship. Yeah, like if you're in your 30s going from being an NRL player, you want to do a Cert 3.
To apprenticeship making what, $13 an hour?
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No. And then when we presented the idea of online business and apps and startups and all this kind of stuff, they said it's too new. And I was like, what? The internet is too new? Oh, really?
www.
Yeah, like it's a bit scary that, how
backwards are we?
It's a slow process. But look, at the end of the day, athletes have to take ownership of that. And that's something that I would like to reiterate if there's athletes listening to it. It's your responsibility. So if you want to be the 1% that go on and have like a really cool life after sport and make lots of money and live the life how you choose and spend time with your family, you can do that, but you have to choose that. Because when we first started, we wanted to work with the 98%. We want to help the underdog. We want people to succeed.
The guys that didn't quite get their shot to shine in the NFL.
They had the skill, but they didn't quite make it. But the reason that they didn't get to the top is because they don't give.
They had the work ethic.
They had the work ethic of the 98%er, and the 1%ers are the guys that reach the top, and then they go and do that outside of sport, and they're like, how can I make this happen, rather than like hold my hand, do it for me. And that's why they are who they are. At the end
of the day, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
You can give people a million options, and they're like, I still don't know what to do. Well, you got to make a choice.
It's a scary thought, and I guess ego's got to come into it as well, especially with being a professional and being notorious, and people can see you and people recognize you and recognize you for doing these cool things every weekend or most weekends.
Yeah.
And then you go back to sitting at home, and then you go out and you just used to be that person who used to do that stuff.
Well, there's this story about this guy that used to play in the NFL, and then after he left the league, he went and got a job. And the people at his job used to draft him in fantasy, and that was just like a shot to his ego. He was like, wow, this is where I'm at now.
And they're his bosses.
They're his bosses, and they're like, oh, we used to draft you in fantasy.
And now, yes.
And he's like, oh, now I'm working under you.
I bet you any money he would have been one of the players who went through depression, because it would have been a hit to his ego. There's a lot of guys that I played football with that earn a lot of money during their career, and then they've got to go, because they bought houses and not houses, but stupid things like cars and jet skis and motorbikes. They had to go to the mines because that was the closest thing that they had
to match their income,
their salary.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I mean,
it doesn't have to be that way.
Doesn't have to be.
Athletes for athletes.
Athletes for athletes.
Yeah, someone should make a business.
And I think it's a really cool thing as well. If you've got a personality as an athlete and you've got that ability to brand, you've got a platform to rebrand yourself. So you can say, you were a football player, now I'm doing this. Guys, I have no idea what I'm doing, but this is what I'm doing. Support me. And the ability to learn and to let people, because people love real. You can post all the shiny pictures, but if you're an athlete that they already relate to, and then you say, guys, I really suck at this, I'm really scared, but I'm going to do this. People relate to that. They love that. They want to help you. So you have an opportunity to go that way and not try and be this egotistical, like, I was a cool guy, now I'm going to continue being a cool guy.
They forget to ask questions.
Bit of vulnerability too.
Yeah, vulnerability. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yes. See, we finish each other's sentences. It's adorable.
I'm left-handed, he's right-handed.
Exactly. But no, what was I going to say? Shit, before I had that zinger.
That was good. That's probably the funniest thing you've said.
Thank you.
Killed it.
I'm saving that thing up.
That's a wrap, guys. That's a wrap. We're done.
Yeah. But fuck, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, but it's amazing what you said. Like, if a player does go in there into the outside world and want to start their own business, and the thing is, the thing is, when you got to use your rugby league or whatever sport it is. Just can you hold it for 2 seconds while I say this? Anyway, you got to keep that. You got to have an exit strategy. Your exit strategy when I played football was to get into earth moving. I started earth moving 3 years before I finished. Most players don't do that, and like I said before, most of the sponsors that are involved in a club, all they want to do is help rugby league players. The reason why they're involved in sport or sponsorship in sport is because they love it and they love the people that they go watch. And it's almost like they're fanboying, but they don't. But if you ask them what you can do for their business, 9 times out of 10 they're going to go, listen, I need someone to provide this for my business. If you start a business, I'll get it off you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And they'll also mentor you. If you go to them and say, you've got a successful multi-million-dollar company that you can sponsor an NRL team, help me. Like, I'm starting my business. What did you do? Because they all started at the bottom most of the time.
That's exactly the quick thing I was going to say. But the what I thought about as well, you're almost like are you the ambulance at the bottom of the hill in the sense that you're there to pick up, trying to like sort of make that smooth transition into civilian life, I suppose you call it. You know, because do people come to you when they do come to you and say, "Oh, I've been off, I've left footy or left the NFL 2 years ago, and I just do nothing with my time. I've lost, I've spent half of my savings. Help me get into something," or do you because that's almost like worst case scenario, or are you sort of trying to catch them just as they finish and say, "Here's what we're going to do"?
Ideally, we would work with them while they're playing.
Yeah,
because
that's another point.
A unique position. Like, you're already there. Say you've got another 3-year contract. You think you're good for that. What do you want to do in those 3 years so that when you don't play, and it's not something that you have to spend a lot of time doing, start thinking about it. There's so many things in the online space, and you see athletes doing it all the time. They've got really cool ideas, but they just don't implement it. Like, they'll start a clothing they start a clothing line, but it's a clothing line that's just got their name. So when they're no longer an athlete and that name doesn't mean anything, it's not a solid brand that will carry them through. But okay, if you want to do a clothing line, like, we know the process of taking that all the way. So there's so many different things, I think.
Yeah, and also when you get them when they're still playing, they still have a platform. They still have the audience, so it's a great time to
capitalize
their business. Yeah,
and that's
they only have a certain number of years after they retire too that they're still relevant. That it's like a very small gap that you have to capitalize.
Are you
on.
Still in that gap?
I retired 10 years ago and I'm still
Look at you, top of the game, top of the game. Look, some people got it, some people don't.
You flog that horse till it comes home.
Why not?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You just got to use it.
Yeah, he showed me his highlights the other day. They're on the VCR, I think.
Oh,
I got it sent to him by pigeon.
Yeah. Smoke signal. Oh dear. Yeah, that's a point I was sort of going to make. Like, is it something that you try and catch them?
All right,
before?
I'm out. See you.
He's actually pretty hurt about that.
No, I'm not.
Trust me, we're very close. I know.
We'll put my highlights tape on before we
I know.
start.
He wants me to keep it just going
just keep
on
it
there,
rolling.
but I said, look, it's just not professional.
We're only here for an hour, aren't we? We're halfway through.
I know. But that's the point I was going to make. Like, also preparing them for. So you should almost be approachable at that 3-year mark or that 4-year mark when they're sort of thinking. But then, like I was saying at the start, does that mean that they've got 1 foot out?
No, but do you think if you're playing professional sport and you were making...
You can ask me this too if you want.
Okay, well, if you were a professional podcaster, you're making $300,000 a year and you were making $100,000 or $200,000 on your side gig, you would go to work every day. You're doing it because you love it. If you got fired, if you got injured, if the worst COVID happened and you lost your contract, you've still got an income. So that takes an element of pressure away. Whereas if this is your only gig and your family's relying on it, there's a lot of pressure to perform week in, week out. If you're not performing, I think it takes the edge off.
Gives you a bit of peace of mind knowing you have something else.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can do it in flow. I think even when you're starting a business, if you've got cash flow, everything's easier. Whereas if you're, if you're hustling around in the dark with rubbing your pennies together, the process is harder.
And even professional athletes have time in their day where they can focus on something else. And instead of playing PlayStation or instead of playing Netflix, you know what I mean? It's up to you how you want to utilize your time.
Yeah, because there is a lot of downtime involved, isn't it?
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yep.
And the thing is, I keep on going back to the sponsors. Like, if you got a day off, I used to do work experience with a guy. His name was John Fish. He had a massive, big real estate developing company. I'd snap my Achilles, so I was out for a year. I went and worked with him just to pick his brain, just to work with him, because I was still getting paid my contract because I had a 3-year contract with the Titans, and I went, you know what, I'm going to deal with him because he was worth, I think he had $2 billion worth of real estate on the go. He was doing a massive big development up at Century Cove. So I just went and worked with him. He didn't pay me. It was just work experience. But I still got the inside of what he does and how he runs his business. And that was, when I finished playing football, that was, and as soon as I started working with him, that was 2008, I started my earth moving company. As soon as I finished playing, doing work experience with him for 12 months, I went and bought a bobcat and a tipper, and then it just went from there. because it was just on the back
Yeah.
of, you know what, I'm not going to stay at home, play PlayStation,
Yeah, exactly.
and, you know, twiddle my thumbs.
Well,
See,
one
that's the
thing,
1% mentality.
well, one thing we tell our athletes is while you're still playing is focus on your network and spend your time with sponsors. Go to networking events and build your network while you're still playing,
100%.
because your network is your net worth, and that's going to come in handy when you're not playing sport anymore.
With the people I know, this is no joke. It'd be like if someone was smart and knew the people I knew, it'd be worth $1 billion to them. Honestly.
What are you saying about yourself?
No, but honestly,
No,
like,
but that's exactly
I know,
how
like-
it works.
Yeah.
like Nick Polite, like the first person I'd think of is Nick Politis. He
Yeah.
owns the Sydney Roosters.
Roosters,
He's
yeah,
worth a couple of $1 billion.
Is he?
Now, if
Is
I
that why
was,
Sonny Bill's driving a Bentley?
that's why my little cousins there, my little nephews there.
Yeah, spot on.
But you know, that's the thing. Like they just some of the players forget who they are, one, and who they can get in contact with. Like it doesn't take me. It takes me one phone call to get to, probably 2 phone calls to get to ScoMo. Like, and no, that's no. You know, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but you know, I could make one call, and they make a call to, you know, the most highest position in Australia. You know, that's
That's what you need.
and that's what you need. And they got to like sports people do. They got to realise that. You know, the thing is, ScoMo's a rugby league fanatic. He probably watched me play. Like you could pick up the phone and he'd know who you were. And that's where professional athletes, they don't get that. They think, oh, they're just, you know, a couple of people out there training hard and playing hard, and forget that there are fans out there that are worth squillions.
Yeah, a lot of humility involved too. You know, humility with it all. Where they
I'm
think,
not.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying like they don't want to. You know, they think, oh, I'm just a
Yeah,
like,
But you
oh,
gotta put
they
that
might
aside.
know me. You know, they might know me. Oh, I'll probably bother them.
Yeah.
Because what they don't realise is that person actually watches them every week and is like, fuck,
And
you know,
wants to
and
talk to
admires them. Yeah, and would love to
100%.
chat to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one thing that came out of America that Quincy and I really value, was that the people that we met over there, the connections that we made, and we maintain those relationships to this day.
Yep.
And yeah.
And that's something that we love to do as well. Someone will come to us with an idea and they'll say, I want to do this. And we'll just look at each other and we're like, well, we don't have it right now, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then we just make calls and then we set up a team and we make it
Exactly.
happen. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing that we can't do.
Swan mentality.
Yeah.
What's
On
that?
top of the water, you're calm. Underneath it, you're going hell for leather.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've heard that one before. That's a good
How
one.
majestic do they look on the top of the water?
Yeah, very majestic. Actually.
You get GoPro underneath it, they're off. They're going for it. And that's it. Like that's what you got to do, especially with when you start a business. If there's a question that's been thrown at you, this is what I felt when I learnt when I was at the Earth movement. If I didn't know something, I'd buy time by saying, "Oh, listen, I'll give the boys a call back, and I'll call you back in 5." And then I'd scram, just get on the phone to people that knew what they wanted, and then come back to them and pretend like I knew what they wanted.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about who
That's
you
part
know,
of business,
not what
isn't
you
it?
know.
Yeah,
That's
there's
it.
a little bit of faking it till you make it. But
Yeah.
then there's also an opportunity as well to really grow. Like
Yeah.
you learn so many things. So like we do lots of self-development. We work with mentors,
Business coaches.
like
Yep.
a whole heap of,
for your business itself.
Yep.
Yep.
yeah.
It's
And
good.
just to grow as people. Because
Well, I think a lot of the things it comes down to a language as well. You know, like business is a language, and whether you know that language or you don't. Like I'm a plumber by trade. If I started talking plumbing to you guys, you'd just roll your eyes and wouldn't know what I was talking about. But if there was another guy here, and I might sound really smart talking about this lingo, but it's only because you don't know the lingo.
Yeah.
The minute you learn the business lingo,
Yeah.
well then you know you're no longer an idiot. Or you just certainly don't feel like it. You just feel like you just know the lingo now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of business guys and a lot of high profile people use that to their advantage, and they'll talk the lingo and make you feel a little bit inadequate when it's really they just know
Yeah.
a language you just don't know.
Yeah, Michelle Obama got asked that, like, how do you feel sitting at tables with all of these really elite people? And she said most of them have no idea how they got there.
Yeah.
Everyone feels the exact same way,
Yeah.
but no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, everyone feels insecure. They're like, "Oh shit, do I really actually
Yeah, like,
should I be here? Like,
Yeah.
why not? I should be here." 'Cause-
Yeah.
One thing someone told me
'Cause it's your
was
show.
no
Yeah,
one
I
else
invited
knows
you.
what they're doing either.
yeah.
exactly.
Me and Michelle are on a similar views on things.
One time, Jane and I, we had a conversation with this really cool social media growth company, and we
my
did a
gosh.
4-day fast, which is crazy.
They're the best.
It's better than your 3-day one.
Yeah, got me by
We
24
were on,
hours.
yeah, we
I did the 3 day, put on more weight afterwards.
Yeah.
I
You
put
gotta
on
break
weight.
the fast right. I saw how you break your fast, by the way.
With
Too
your
much
pork belly?
meat,
No,
yeah.
pork
I do the
belly
same
and then all the
thing.
meat.
I put on weight like I'm an athlete,
Yeah,
like,
I look
like
at
it's
a
a race.
picture and put on 10 kilos.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, carry on. As you were.
Yeah, so we
Your
were
4-day fast.
Yeah, so we're 3 days in, and we had our first initial phone call with these guys. We had a few companies that we needed a team of professionals that
We
were
weren't sharp. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so usually
Okay,
if you're
yep.
having one of those calls, you can kind of like just your way through it. But we were on the go slow, and they were like saying things, and I was like, Jane was like, do you guys have Instagram? And I was like,
They're a social media company.
You asked that to them.
Yeah. I was like, sorry. I meant, what is your Instagram? I was like, just was not.
I'm so sorry.
We're like, we're
so hungry.
Yeah.
And they were like throwing out all these words, and we're like, what are these things? What do these words mean?
You can be like, or
like Google it on the call, like, oh yeah, okay.
But do you think they were doing that to big note themselves a little bit, where they were like, they could, the lingo was? Because I guess if you stopped and said, hey, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Like, did you not say that because you didn't want to come across as not knowing?
No, we told them that we didn't.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, we
like,
said,
so what does that mean?
Yeah, we haven't eaten in a few days. We don't know what you're talking about. What's your name again?
Yeah.
What are we doing on this call?
Yeah.
Who are you people? Goodbye.
Get out of my living room.
The COVID meetings, everything.
Yeah.
We work from our house, so
Yeah, it's like business on the top.
truck pets on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah, well, there's some brutal ones. Have you seen those? Of the people who don't know they've hung up on Zoom?
Oh no!
Oh, wasn't
I
that bloke who
haven't.
had a tissue box?
Yeah, he went. He started to do that. But another lady.
Oh, no
Yeah, he
way.
thought he shut
he
the
was an
window, but he didn't
exhibitionist.
realise it was still on there. He went and decided he was going to
Yeah.
treat himself like an amusement park afterwards. But there was another lady,
I'm dead.
and she took her
Work
Zoom.
is done.
Yeah, work is done. Time for night shift.
Tissues?
And she grabbed her phone and like walked in and didn't realise that they could see her, and she like rests it down by the toilet. And then like pulls her pants down and
Oh,
sits
that's
on
right.
the toilet.
That was
And
at the
she's-
start. That was at the start.
I'm dead.
You know what sometimes we hate is when you think you're on mute and you're not.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or you pocket call someone.
Yeah, weird one. We did like a family thing, and we had to name ourselves for a like a family quiz night. We did over Zoom, and then I had a call for work on Zoom a couple of weeks later, and I didn't realise I hadn't changed my team name, and our team name was Stephen Hawking School of Dance, and so I had that as my team name. I only did it because I thought it'd be funny.
It's hilarious.
Half my family didn't get it, but at least they didn't say it. And then I went and had a professional call, and I realised that was, and I got questioned about it. I felt a little embarrassed.
Well, sometimes we'll have a call at 7 a.m. and I'm getting up at 6:55.
Yeah.
Don't do video.
Yeah, no video
Yeah,
today,
no
guys.
video, and put a comb through my hair.
Yeah.
All right, nice. That's good.
There
I
we
like
go.
it. I like where you're headed. I like the industry. It's and if anyone wants to come do podcasts, let me know. We'll get them in with Jace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any athlete for athletes. We're basically athletes, so we can help athletes.
You're podcast athletes.
It's like
it.
an
One of our
endurance.
Cream of the crop.
athletes, one of our
Endurance.
athletes has actually
Well, he's-
come and done a podcast with Jace.
You're welcome.
Lamar, yeah.
Well, his endurance is 3-hour podcast. You're still at the one.
Yeah, I don't. I don't.
He's a high level athlete.
Two things.
This is
He's a
Powerade.
long distance.
Powerade.
He can talk for hours.
Yeah, he can. I don't have the bladder for it
Yeah.
initially. Like I've got a now bladder, bladder of a pregnant woman, and also I
have a job.
I have a job.
And kids.
Yes, and kids.
And a wife,
And a
yeah.
wife, and just 3 hours is a long time.
So you're really highlighting all the things I don't have.
Yeah. It was a touchy subject. I didn't want to go too deep, but you forced it out of me.
But you made me do it. You made
I've
me
got
do
a
it.
family and he's living the single life, so I can't, he can do his 3 hours. No, but it's good. No, I really appreciate you both coming in
Yeah, we
to
appreciate you
chat with
having
us, and
Yeah,
all the
thank
best, and your big night out tonight, and also with everything going forward. I think it's awesome, and
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have you back on in the future.
Yeah.
And if anyone's listening, do you want to, what's your...
Yeah, reach out to us. Our Instagram is at Athletes4Athletes Official, or you can follow us.
Jane and Quincy.
Yeah.
Do you have your own one together?
No.
A fan
left
made
and right,
one.
left
A
and
fan
right.
We
made
did
one.
have a fan page, and I wanted to let everyone know that we did not make that fan page because everyone thought we did.
You sound like you got some real stories about some fans. Like,
You have no idea.
That's
Yeah.
the next podcast. That will go for 3
mate,
hours.
yeah, that'll be a 3 hour one. So bank some stories about fans, and we get the signed posters.
All right, sounds good.
Sounds
Spot
good.
on. Thanks,
you.
girls.
Thanks,
All right.
girls.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.